There are six different theories were proposed for origin of life, and in the last lecture I have discussed five theories. And now in this current lecture I am going to discuss the modern theory of origin of life, because in these pictures we can see the Big Bang theory. During the Big Bang theories, all our solar system originate in 15 billion years ago, and our earth originated, and from the earth that was the reducing nature, and the atoms forms simple molecules, after that complex molecule, and then gave rise to the life. So we will talk about this modern theory. This theory is known as the chemical theory, because the chemical or the molecules or the atoms combined with each other and form the complex molecule, after that give rise to the life. So this theory is a chemical theory or theory of primary abiogenesis, or because this theory is put forward by the Oparin-Haldane, that's why this theory is called Oparin-Haldane theory. Other name also is there, the naturalistic theory or the theory of chemical evolutions. So this modern theory, the hypothesis of abiogenesis was proposed. In this theory support the abiogenesis, but not in that condition. But the one condition is there, that the non-living materials can give rise to the life in the condition of primitive earth. The condition of the primitive earth is different from the present condition. Today's condition is different, and the primitive condition of the earth is different, because in the primitive condition earth was reducing in nature, and today's oxidizing in nature. That's why it is the different. This is the uh, important fact, that life can be originate and that primitive stage of that earth, but not today by the non-living things. So the condition of the primitive earth is different from the present condition, which do not permit abiogenesis. Today's condition is not permit the abiogenesis, but that condition, that time, that primitive time that the solar system developed by the Big Bang theory, by the Big Bang, so that time that was possible, not today. The idea of this chemical theory is put forward by the two scientists, and these scientists were the AI Oparin and JVS Haldane. Haldane is the Indian scientist, but because it came to India for living, but it is England born scientist. Now there are some assumptions, and these are some assumptions. Following assumptions are there, that is spontaneous generations of life under the present environment not possible, and that was possible in that primitive time. And second one is the earth's atmosphere about 1 billion years ago there was free oxygen, and that complete oxygen consumed in the compositions of the primitive atmosphere of earth, and that earth was reducing in nature. At that time oxygen was absent, so the first life was anaerobic, and under these conditions the chemical molecules, or which are the chemical molecules, the inorganic molecules like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and hydrogen reacts with each other through a series of reactions, combined with each other and form the molecules, and after that the organic substances and other complex biomolecules, they give rise to other complex biomolecules, and energy provided by this for the chemical reaction, and that energy was use the solar energy and the ultraviolet radiations. These are the energy source for the chemical reactions. And the first life originated in the water of oceans. We can say that first life arise in the oceans. So water is very very essential for origin of life, and that is the reason, this is the very important, that this is the reason that there is no life on moon due to the absence of water. Other things also is there, environment is not there, atmosphere is not like that, that is like a uh, earth, because earth have the water and there is no water on the moon, that's why no life. And oxygen, that was reproduced by photosynthesis and atmosphere converted into oxidizing. Photosynthesis going on, and then oxygen uh, form, and this environment converted into the oxidizing. Now there are some stages of chemical evolutions, and these are the atomic stage, because atoms are there in this stage only. After atomic stage come molecular stage, and the molecular stage means that the origin of molecules and simple inorganic compounds. Simple inorganic compounds. After that, origin of early organic compounds, then simple organic compounds. After that, complex organic compounds. These are some stages: atomic, molecule, early organic, simple organic, and complex organic. Very simple. These are the 5 stages of chemical evolutions. And next one is the experimental evidences. In this experimental evidences, we will uh, discuss about the Stanley Miller experiment. So we will talk about later. Now come to the point, that atomic stage. We know that the earth was originated about 4.6 billion years ago by the Big Bang, and the early earth had free atoms of all those elements which are essentials for the formation of protoplasm. These are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygens. And oxygen was an atomic level, not a molecular level. On the lightest atom, like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, form the primitive atmosphere. Here it is fact that these 4 types of inorganic molecules, or hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, these are the primitive atmosphere. These were present in the primitive atmosphere, and most abundant of all of them are the hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom was the most abundant in the primitive atmosphere. Now this come to the second stage, that was molecular stage, and this is the origin of molecules and simple inorganic compounds, that the pre-atoms combined to form molecules and simple inorganic compound. Pre-atoms like that carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and uh, hydrogen, these combined with each other and form inorganic compounds. Due to the presence of high temperature, at that time primitive earth was have the high temperature, active hydrogen atoms combined with all oxygen atoms to form water, and leaving no free oxygen. Thus the primitive atmosphere was reducing without free oxygen. But today's there is free oxygen because the photosynthesis. So present oxidizing atmosphere with the free oxygen, and that time the primitive earth was not oxidizing, but that was reducing due to the formation of the water with composition, or the reactions of hydrogen and free oxygens. These combined with each other and form water. Now the hydrogen atom also combined with nitrogen at that time. Two types of reactions, hydrogen atom combined with free oxygen, and then and next one is the hydrogen atoms combined with nitrogen to form ammonia. That first molecular compound formerly water and the ammonia. So it is fact, it is very important that because of the primitive earth was reducing in nature, there was no free oxygen, because that oxygen used for formation of water with the combination of hydrogen atom, and hydrogen atom combine with nitrogen to form ammonia. So two compounds form, these are the water and the ammonia. The both are the compounds very early formed in that time, and these lighter elements also form carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen, and hydrogen. These are some lighter elements. Now, here you can see in these pictures that there are four atoms: hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. These all atoms combined with each other to give rise other molecules. Other compounds like nitrogen combined with hydrogen form ammonia, like that. Hydrogen combined with oxygen form water, and these carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen combined with each other and origin form acetic acid. So this is some compounds form the primitive during the primitive earth. Now next is the third stage. Now we are going to the discuss about the third stage: origin of early organic compounds. Early organic compounds, the nitrogen and carbon of the atmosphere combined with metallic atoms forming nitrides and carbides. Water vapor and metallic carbides react to form the first organic compound, methane. That was methane, because carbon and hydrogen combined with each other form this methane. Later on, hydrogen cyanide was formed, water which is formed on the earth due to the high temperature, and because of the high temperature this water evaporated. Again this evaporated water condense, and this water come to the surface of the earth. Because the surface of the earth is very hot, that's again this hot vapor formation, and then condensation, and again vapor formation, and then again condensation, at at the last temperature so due to the evaporations clouds formation, and after that the water collected on the surface of the earth and form water. Now the water vapor change into raindrops, and by the collections of water on the earth primitive oceans were formed. Formation of some hydrogen cyanide and HCO by this simple reactions. Carbon dioxide give rise to the carbon monoxide and the free oxygen. Methane and oxygen combined with each other and form CH2O and hydrogen water. Carbon monoxide and ammonia form hydrogen cyanide and water also. And methane and ammonia combined with each other and form hydrogen cyanide and free hydrogens. Now the fourth stage is the origin of simple organic compounds. We are forwarding from the atomic stage to molecular stage, and after that the early organic compounds to simple organic compounds. We have discussed three stages already: the atomic stage, The in the molecular stage, origin of molecules and simple inorganic compounds. And next stage was the origin of early organic compounds. Early organic compounds. After that, the fourth stage is the origin of simple organic compounds. Simple organic compounds, because we know that the water of primitive oceans contain large amount of methane, now ammonia, hydrogen, cyanides, carbides, and nitrides. These compounds were collected in the water. Now these early compounds interact and form simple organic compounds, and these are the some are the organic compounds like aldehydes, ketones, alcohol, pentose, and hexose sugar, amino acids also, glycerol also, fatty acids also, purine, pyrimidine. These are some organic compounds. And energy sources, the ultraviolet radiation, sunlight, and cosmic rays, or some of the volcanic eruptions. This energy can be used for the chemical reactions and formation of glycine, the formaldehyde, ammonia, and hydrogen cyanide then react to form glycine. And we know that glycine is the simplest amino acid, and we know very well that amino acids are the body give rise to proteins, building blocks. These are the building blocks. It means that amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. Now the next we are forwarding the next stage, and this stage is the organic of complex organic compounds. As we know that we have already discussed about the atomic state, then molecular stage, then origin of early organic compounds. After that, this organic compounds, that origin of simple organic compounds, and then we are coming to the origin of complex organic compounds. The small simple organic molecules combine to form large complex organic molecules. For examples, that amino acids joined to form polypeptide and proteins, which were non-enzymatic. Simple sugar unites combine to form polysaccharides. Fatty acids and glycerol united to form the fats and lipids. Sugar, nitrogenous bases, phosphorus or phosphates combined into nucleotide, which polymerize into nucleic acid, which unable to replicate. We know very well. In this stage, monomer combine to each other and form polymers like nucleotides form polynucleotide. Amino acids means polypeptide. Peptide, amino acids combine to each other make peptide, and then peptide is the monomer. After that, polymer formation going on, that peptides combine to each other and formation of the polypeptide, or this is the proteins formation. These are some complex or organic compounds, and these macromolecules forms main component of protoplasm. Hence, this is the possibility of origin of life in the primitive oceans. So we can say that life originate in the primitive oceans, and in this simple pictures we can see here, this is the primitive oceans, means water is here, and in this water sun energy or ultraviolet light is used for chemical reactions. And here you can see this is primarily or in the primitive stage, nitrogen, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen give rise to the ammonia, methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, these molecules. Because we have been discussed earlier the atomic stage and molecular stage and other stages, and here in this picture we can clearly see that ammonia, here is the ammonia, and here is methane, this is the carbon dioxide, and this is hydrogen, and this is nitrogen oxide. And ultraviolet light can be used for these chemical reactions, and these chemical reactions you can see here that these ammonia, methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and these all molecules combined with each other and form a complex molecule like sugar, fatty acids, glycerol, fats, polysaccharides, protein, water, and nucleic acids. This is nucleic acid, amino acid, pyrimidine, and purine. So these are the some complex molecules formed in the primitive oceans and gave rise to the life form, first life form. In this second pictures we can see that oxygen and carbon form to each other, combine with each other, and form carbon dioxide. Oxygen and hydrogen atoms combine each other and form water. And after that, these all molecules combine to each other and form the macromolecules like glycerin, ribose, glucose, polynucleotide, polypeptide, all molecules. So these are some complex organic compounds. After a long time, water of the primitive oceans become rich mixes of organic compounds, and that is the result of the chemical evolutions. And Haldane called this saturated water of ocean as prebiotic soup or hot dilute soup. The major requirement for promoting polymerization is the availability of the continuous source of energy, and removal of the butter from the surface of reactants so that they can concentrate and prevent depolymerization. These are some conditions that life form in the primitive oceans, and these are some stages of the chemical evolutions. In the next lecture we are going to discuss about the experimental evidence for the formation of simple organic compounds, and we will discuss about the Haldane and Miller's